Hi guys, so today we're making sauerkraut. I have 2 cabbages here. What I'm gonna do first, I'll just remove the outer skin because they're a little bit blemished. As you can see, they were sitting in my fridge for 2 weeks. I was gonna make cabbage rolls, but I decided that I'll just save it for later because I was busy and I didn't have time to make any cabbage rolls. We'll make that another time. So I'm just gonna remove the see, there's a little bit more. I'm gonna remove all the blemished leaves. Okay, so basically I cleaned the blemished leaves. Now it looks nice and fresh. Okay, so you can use any kind of cabbage. You can use red cabbage, you can use the green type of cabbage, any kind of cabbage you want. What I'm going to use in this recipe is basically 3 ingredients. You need cabbage, you need salt. So I have this pink Himalayan salt, any kind of salt that is not processed. So you can use real Redmond salt, you can use sea salt and all that, and caraway seeds. Okay, so now let's get started. So here are my prepared jars. I already washed them and I let them to air dry. So make sure you have clean jars prepared, ready to be filled with your cabbage for sauerkraut. And what I'll be using here is also a mandolin, which I love to use whenever I have to slice something, which is easier and faster than with the knife. So I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's just a regular mandolin. You can also find it on Amazon or in stores. I've had this for many years and it's still very sharp, and you can just adjust the thickness of the slices. Okay, and I'll walk you right through it, how to do all this. It's very simple and it's very delicious, good for you. So we're just gonna cut this head of cabbage in half carefully so you won't get hurt. Look at that juicy cabbage. Okay, so we're gonna do the same for each of the heads. Again, one more time. So it's gonna be cut in quarters. Okay, and now we want to take the core off. All right. There we are. Now we're gonna get a big bowl, okay, because it needs to be a large one because we're gonna have to use our hands a little bit here. And I'm using the mandolin, here it is. And there's a cover for it, okay, so you won't get hurt. I'm gonna choose the, I don't know, not so thin, maybe medium size, yeah. Now we're just gonna go for it. And I'm gonna have, I love cabbage. So now what we're gonna do is add some salt. So the Himalayan, just gonna add first just a tablespoon. And we're gonna massage it a little bit to release the juices, and then we're gonna add the rest of the salt. And I'm also adding the caraway seeds. So again, about a tablespoon, a little more than a tablespoon. There we are. Just massage everything together. So it's gonna release some juices. There we go. And this is actually very therapeutic. To feel all that food in your hands and turn it into something really delicious. We never buy sauerkraut from the store because it's just nasty, it's disgusting, we don't like the flavor. So if you never had real sauerkraut because you weren't impressed with the one from the store, you should definitely try making your own. It's the best. So good. It goes with any kind of meal. And research shows that 2 tablespoons of sauerkraut or any kind of fermented vegetable or food has the same amount of probiotics as 100 pills. Those probiotic pills that you buy in the health food stores. You only take 2 tablespoons of this goodness, which equals 100 pills of probiotics, which you can't even trust anyways because they're sitting on the shelf for so long. So this is not only cheaper, but it's also so good for your gut and so readily available. You just pull a jar out and enjoy. There we are. So I'm just gonna let this sit. So in the meantime, I'm just going to pour a little bit of boiling water over the jars. They're already clean, but I just want to make sure they're, you know, sterile as much as possible. And these are the weights. They're glass weights that I like to use. I already washed them, so I'm just leaving them in a clean bowl here. And I like to use them to press down onto the cabbage or any kind of ferment. They're excellent because it keeps the vegetables submerged into the liquid, so the bad bacteria wouldn't form on top. Okay, so you need the vegetables to be submerged into the ferment. Okay, so this is the cabbage. It's been sitting for about half an hour. And now we're just gonna add another tablespoon of the salt. And I think that's gonna be it because I don't like it too salty. So make sure you taste it. It doesn't have to be so salty that you can't eat it. Or it cannot lack salt, okay? Too much salt will interfere with fermenting. And too little salt will allow the bad bacteria to grow and it's gonna get moldy. And that's my dog barking as usual. So I'm just gonna use both hands to massage into the cabbage. There you go. Nice and juicy. Look at that. See? See that? Look at all this juice. That's gonna turn into a nice ferment. And it sounds gross, fermented, because you probably ate, like I said, store-bought ferments, or they're not even ferments, but store-bought sauerkraut. And those vegetables are boiled and processed, so it's definitely not like homemade fermented foods. Just gonna give it a little taste, make sure it's salty enough. It's delicious. It's delicious. That's it. Now we're just gonna put it into jars. And that's the liquid. I just want to show you. See all the liquid? It looks dirty because of my salt. It's pink salt. If you use sea salt, it's gonna be more clear or whitish. But that's from the pink salt. Okay, I'll just bring my jars. So now we're just going to fill up the jars. So like I said, I'm just going to use the smaller ones now because I think that's gonna be enough. So I'm just gonna put the rest of it. It's not much left, so I'm just going to press it down because it needs to be pressed down anyways. So I'm just going to use my fist here because it fits to this large mouthed jar. I'll put the rest of it, and then the juices will go on top. So look at that. It's plenty of liquid. Now, if you don't have enough liquid, there you go, see? Came to the top. Make sure you press down, okay, so that it does come to the top. It needs to be really well packed, all this cabbage, so that it doesn't float to the top. Okay, there we go. And that's the liquid. All right, if you don't have enough liquid, depends on the cabbage, just add some filtered water and you're done. Make sure you leave some headspace. So I have at least 1.5 inches, so like I think 2 inches here. Okay, and I have my glass weights, which I already washed. Gonna put it on top like this, but because you can see there's a little bit more space on the side, I'd like to put some leaves. So I saved the leaves here. This is what I saved them for. We're gonna cover the top with the leaves, just like that. Okay, and this is the last few pieces. All right, there you go. So I just put the leaves on top, just like that. You can see the juice is coming on top, so everything is submerged, okay? All the yummy cabbage. Now, I'm still going to add the glass weight just because I want to make sure everything is submerged. You don't have to, but I'll do that just to be extra safe. And then I'm not going to put the seal on. This is the seal. I'm not going to put it on right now because we don't want to seal it yet. This needs to breathe, okay, because we want it to ferment. So I will just cover it up like that. Maybe put something heavier on it, even just another weight, just to make sure it stays pretty much closed. But I'm not going to seal it yet. We're gonna let it ferment into its own brine for about 7 to 14 days. It depends on the warmth of the house and the weather outside. If it's warm in the house, it's going to ferment and be ready to go in about 7 days, so in about a week, or it can take 2 weeks or sometimes even longer. So just have a taste. Make sure you put a plate underneath because it will sometimes, if there's not enough space, it will just bubble up and the liquid will just foam over, but that's normal. So make sure you put a plate underneath and just leave it in a nice warm place. I just like to leave it in the kitchen and we'll check on it every few days or so. Okay, that's pretty much it.